Okay, everyone, people asked me how would you do the textured chain stitch as a flat panel. So I did up a bit of a flat panel here to show you. So they wanted to know if they could make a scarf or a blanket with this stitch, and so yes, you can. So here's what it looks like done as a flat panel. On the inside it looks like this. This is the wrong side, and the right side looks like this. There it is, and it has lots of texture. And I used a chain cast on, so it looks like that. And I slipped the sides, so you have this braided look at the sides. And there you go. That's all you need to do. You can do a different kind of a side if you want. You could use a garter stitch or whatever you want, but so far I have used no purls at all, and you don't have to use purls in this stitch. So I'm just going to show you how to do that, and I'll take this one off because this was take one, left over from take one, which I got all tongue-tied, and so we have to do it all over again. But I'll get this video done. So we just do a slip knot and put it on the loom. And I'm probably going to get questions, what yarn did I use? This is a Charisma Tweed. I don't know what the color is. I don't have the label anymore. This was just leftover yarn, but that's what it is. It's Charisma Tweed, and this is also Charisma, and I don't have the label either, but this is the variegated, the ones with the color, the different color runs in it. And you know, I think, oh, I almost can remember what the color was, but I can't. But it was kind of Colors of the Sea, this one. Okay, we take the hook. We're just going to do the chain cast on. Now the chain cast on, it's one of the crochet cast ons actually that I'm going to use, and I'm just not going to use a crochet hook to do it. I'm just going to do it with my fingers. So you take the hook and you scoop up the working yarn, and then you take that loop, put it behind peg 2, and then I'm going to take this and snug it up, and we're just going to take the working yarn, pull it through that loop, snug it up, working yarn behind, pull it through the loop, snug it up, working yarn behind, the loop behind I mean, pull the working yarn through, snug it up, loop behind, working yarn through, snug it up, and then I'm just going to put it over, pull it to tighten, and knit the yarn to hold it in place. And now it's nice and secure. So that's all there is to do with the cast on, but we're going to U-wrap back to complete the look. Just like this. U-wrapping back. And back. And so there's the cast on that I used right there. And then we go right into the work, and we slip this first stitch, and then I have the video out on the stitch, both just how to do the stitch, and I also have it when I've done it in the round, so I'm not going to do very much in demonstrating it, but we're going to do owl eye. So to get started with owl eye, we wrap peg 1, and now we go over 1 and 2 because we always get 2 wraps on each of these pegs, and knit it over. And we're going to wrap these 2 pegs again, but we're going to do a figure 8 on them. So we take the working yarn, go back over behind peg 2 and behind peg 1, front of peg 1 and in between, behind and wrap peg 2 like that, and then just knit it off. And we take the working yarn and snug it up by pulling it back the way we came. We take slack out of it, and quite a bit of slack comes out. And over peg 1 and 2, wrap them like this and knit them off and snug up the yarn. And I'll do a close-up here. Wherever the yarn is, right beside here is peg 1. Wherever the working yarn is, peg 1. Over peg 1, over peg 2, knit them over, working yarn goes behind to peg 1, wrapping it behind, and then wrapping peg 2, and then knitting it off and snugging it up. And then we take the working yarn behind peg 2, front of the peg, doing a U-wrap, knit over, make sure it's loose, pull it to loosen it up if it's too tight, and we slip it, go back, doing the owl eye again. And then figure 8 this way. And knit it off and snug it up again by pulling the working yarn the way you were going. And then here you are, peg 1 over peg 1 and 2, figure 8, knit it off and pull, and over peg 1 and 2, figure 8, snug it up, and then just U-wrap over the peg, making sure this is loose, slip it, and then back you would go again. And that's basically all you do. And then this is what you'll get. And it's nice, and it lays nice and flat, doesn't need any purls. It's a really nice flat stitch because neither of those stitches curl. Okay. Now we're going to bind off, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the stretchy bind off. And so let's see, I'm going to need my needle, so just hold on while I get my needle. Okay, so I've got my needle, and then I'm just going to cut the yarn, and usually you just go the length of how long your stitches are and double it and cut. Okay, so then I'm just going to put this through here to thread the needle. There we go. And then to do this bind off, we're always going to go down. Here's our first peg, our second peg. We're always going to go down our second peg and then up our first peg, and then around the two to the next peg and go down and then up and then around, down, then up, then around, like that. So we're going to take this, we've slipped this, and we're going to go down the second peg with the needle, like that, pulling the yarn through, and we're going to go up the first one, And then we're going to go behind and we're going to snug it up. Just such a little piece here. Okay, and then we're at this peg. We go down. And don't catch any other loops. Pulling it. Go back up the peg before and behind. The two. Go down the next peg. Oop, I accidentally went over this one. There we go. Up the peg before, between, down the next peg, up the one before, between the next two, down the next peg, up the one before, and then we're just gonna come behind and put the working yarn through this one again, and through this one to make a knot, and it is bound off, and then we're just gonna, you just weave that in. So that's it. And then you can take it off because you're all bound off. There we go. And that's it. You pull the bind off and you end up with a chain look. That's looks like the cast on. So there's the cast on edge. And there's the bind off edge. And we'll get close and look. There's the cast off edge. Got a chain look to it. And there's the bind where we cast on. Has a chain look to it. Okay, so that's all there is to it. And I used 14 pegs to get this width, so you would use more if you wanted a wider scarf, and a lot more, of course, if you wanted a blanket. And you would use less if you want a thinner scarf. Okay, so I hope that showed you how you can do a flat panel. And until we see you next time, bye.